Hello friends, this is my first video on my channel. Today we will talk about Herodotus. Herodotus is known as the father of history. He was an ancient Greek historian who was the first to systematically record historical events in a narrative form. Herodotus was born in 484 BCE in Halicarnassus, modern-day Bodrum, Turkey, which was a Greek colony under Persian rule. He belonged to a noble family and developed an early interest in knowledge and storytelling. Herodotus was an avid traveler. He journeyed through Egypt, Babylon, Persia, Asia Minor, Macedonia, and Alexandria, among other places. During his travels, he documented the customs, cultures, wars, and historical events he witnessed or heard about. His writings contain both factual accounts and mythical or exaggerated stories. His most famous work is Histories, a collection of 9 books. Clio, Euterpe, Talia, Melpomene, Terpsichore, Erato, Polyhymnia, Urania, Calliope, that primarily detail the Greco-Persian wars. His work is not just about war but also includes cultural and geographical insights. Some historians criticize Herodotus for including myths, hearsay, and exaggerated tales in his accounts. However, his writings remain an essential source for understanding ancient history. Herodotus is believed to have died around 425 BCE in Athens or Thurii, Italy. His Histories continue to be a fundamental resource for studying the ancient world. Herodotus is credited with founding the discipline of history by introducing systematic storytelling, inquiry, and analysis of events. Despite some inaccuracies, his writings provide a valuable glimpse into the ancient world. Clio, the first book. Clio is the first book of Histories by Herodotus, where he lays the foundation of historical writing. This book primarily explains the origins of the conflict between the Greeks and the Persians and provides insights into ancient civilizations. Herodotus begins by stating that his goal is to preserve human achievements from being forgotten and to explain the causes of the wars between the Greeks and the Persians. Herodotus traces the roots of the conflict to past abductions. According to his account, the Greeks abducted Europa and Io from Asia. In retaliation, the Persians kidnapped Greek women, including Helen of Troy. This cycle of kidnappings eventually led to the Persian Wars. Herodotus first describes Lydia, a powerful kingdom in Asia Minor. King Croesus, the last ruler of Lydia, attacked the Greeks. Croesus later fought Cyrus the Great, the Persian king, and was defeated. This led to the Persian conquest of Lydia. Herodotus details the rise of Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Persian Empire. Cyrus conquered Media, Lydia, and Babylon. He was known as a just and tolerant ruler. Herodotus also provides accounts of different Asian civilizations, including Babylon, Phrygia, and Egypt, describing their customs, geography, and traditions. Herodotus narrates that Cyrus died in battle against the Massagetae, a fierce nomadic tribe. Clio offers a detailed account of ancient politics, history, and culture. Herodotus not only records historical events but also explores human nature and the fate of nations. This book provides valuable insights into the ancient world and the early conflicts between the East and the West. Euterpe, the second book. Euterpe, the second book of Histories by Herodotus, focuses primarily on ancient Egypt, its history, culture, customs, geography, and religion. Herodotus describes what he observed during his travels to Egypt and provides insights into Egyptian civilization. Herodotus considered Egypt a unique land and noted, "The Nile River is the lifeline of Egypt, essential for agriculture due to its annual floods." Egyptian customs were completely different from those of the Greeks. He described mummification, animal worship, and religious rituals in detail. Herodotus mentioned several great Egyptian rulers. Menes, the first king of Egypt who united the country. Sesostris, a warrior king who expanded Egypt's territories. Cheops Khufu, the ruler who built the famous Great Pyramid of Giza. Rhampsinitus, under whom Egypt was wealthy and prosperous. Herodotus discussed Egypt's grand pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Cheops. He noted that they were built by workers, not slaves. He described the estimated time and techniques used for their construction. Herodotus explained Egyptian gods and religious traditions, Osiris, the most important god, later associated with Dionysus in Greek mythology. Horus and Isis, key deities in the Egyptian pantheon. Egyptians believed in reincarnation, where the soul was reborn in another body after death. Herodotus highlighted several unusual customs. Men wore clothes in the market, while women dressed at home. Egyptians worshipped cattle, especially the sacred Apis bull. Priests followed strict purity rituals, including multiple daily baths. Herodotus attempted to explain the annual flooding of the Nile River, but his theories were speculative due to the lack of scientific knowledge at the time. He concluded the book with the Persian conquest of Egypt, led by Cambyses, the son of Cyrus the Great. Euterpe is based on Herodotus' first-hand observations and collected accounts. It provides a detailed and valuable historical record of ancient Egypt's history, religion, politics, and society. While some details may be exaggerated or inaccurate, the book remains an essential source for understanding ancient Egyptian civilization. Tulia, the third book. Tulia, the third book of Histories, focuses on the Persian conquest of Egypt by Cambyses II, his tyranny, madness, and downfall. It also describes the rebellion in Persia, the rise of Darius I, and the stabilization of the Persian Empire. Herodotus narrates how Cambyses II, the son of Cyrus the Great, invaded and conquered Egypt. The Egyptian pharaoh Amasis II died before the invasion, and his son Psamtik III tried to resist but was defeated. Cambyses took control of Egypt and disrespected its religious customs, particularly by killing the sacred Apis bull, which was worshipped as a divine being. His cruelty and disregard for Egyptian traditions led to unrest among the people. According to Herodotus, Cambyses became increasingly tyrannical and unstable. He murdered his own brother, Smerdis, fearing a potential rebellion. He mocked and desecrated Egyptian religious practices. Meanwhile, a false Smerdis Gaumata led a rebellion in Persia. While rushing back to reclaim his throne, Cambyses died in an accident. Herodotus explains how after Cambyses' death, Gaumata, an impostor, claimed to be Smerdis and took the Persian throne. Gaumata implemented reforms that appealed to common people but alienated the Persian nobility. A group of 7 Persian nobles, led by Darius I, plotted against him. Herodotus describes how Darius I was chosen as king. The nobles devised a contest where whoever's horse neighed first at sunrise would be king, a test that Darius won through trickery. Darius consolidated power, bringing order to the empire. After Darius took power, several regions revolted, including Media and Babylon. Darius crushed these rebellions and implemented major reforms. He divided the empire into 20 satrapies, provinces, to improve administration. He also developed the royal road, enhancing communication across the vast empire. Tulia illustrates the internal power struggles within the Persian Empire and the consequences of a ruler's arrogance and cruelty. It highlights how tyranny leads to downfall, while wisdom and strong leadership, as seen in Darius I, can restore stability and strengthen an empire. Melpomene, the fourth book. Melpomene, the fourth book of Histories, focuses on the Persian expansion under Darius I, particularly his campaigns against the Scythians in Europe and the Libyans in North Africa. It provides detailed descriptions of Scythian and Libyan geography, culture, and warfare, emphasizing how these peoples resisted Persian conquest. Darius I led an expedition against the Scythians, a nomadic people living in the region north of the Black Sea, modern Ukraine and southern Russia. The Scythians used guerrilla warfare tactics, avoiding direct confrontation and instead retreating deeper into their land, destroying food supplies to starve the Persians. Darius' army, despite its strength, struggled against the Scythians, hit-and-run tactics and harsh terrain. Eventually, realizing he could not defeat them, Darius retreated back to Persia, marking a failed invasion. Herodotus provides an extensive ethnographic account of the Scythians, describing their customs, warfare, and religious beliefs. They were nomadic horsemen, skilled in archery and known for their rituals involving human skulls. They worshipped Tabidi, fire goddess Papaios, sky god, and Ares, god of war. He also mentions their cannibalistic neighbors, the Androphagi, and other tribes in the region. Herodotus shifts focus to Libya, detailing Persian attempts to expand their influence there. The Greek colony of Cyrene in Libya is highlighted as an important city that became a target of Persian aggression. The Persians, under Arrian's Persian governor of Egypt, launched a campaign into Libya, but local tribes and harsh desert conditions made conquest difficult. He describes the Libyan tribes, their customs, and geography, including their nomadic lifestyles and unique burial practices. Melpomene showcases the challenges of empire building, as seen in Darius' unsuccessful invasion of Scythia and the difficulties of controlling Libya. Herodotus highlights how geography, climate, and local resistance played key roles in limiting Persian expansion, reinforcing the idea that not all peoples could be easily subdued by a powerful empire. Terpsichore, the fifth book. Terpsichore, the fifth book of Herodotus, Histories, marks a shift in focus from Persian expansion to the events leading up to the Greco-Persian Wars. It details Persia's conquests in Thrace and Macedonia, the Ionian Revolt, and the political developments in Greece, particularly the rise of Athenian democracy. This book provides crucial background to the conflicts between Greece and Persia, which would later culminate in major battles. After Darius I's failed campaign against the Scythians described in Melpomene, the Persian Empire shifted its focus westward. Under the command of Megabazus, the Persians successfully conquered Thrace, modern Bulgaria, making it a Persian satrapy province. Following the conquest of Thrace, the Persians turned to Macedonia, which, rather than being directly occupied, became a vassal state. This meant that while Macedonia retained some autonomy, it had to pay tribute to Persia and acknowledge Persian authority. Persia's expansion into mainland Europe marked a significant step toward its eventual conflict with Greece, as it brought the empire into closer contact with the Greek city-states. One of the major events in Terpsichore is the Ionian Revolt, where the Ionian Greek city-states in Asia Minor rebelled against Persian rule in pursuit of freedom. This revolt was led by Aristagoras of Miletus, who sought military assistance from other Greek city-states. Sparta refused to help, but Athens and Eretria sent military aid, marking the first direct conflict between Persia and mainland Greece. The Ionian rebels initially succeeded in burning Sardis, an important Persian city, which infuriated Darius I, prompting him to vow revenge against Athens. Despite early victories, the revolt was ultimately crushed by the Persians. The city of Miletus, the heart of the rebellion, was destroyed, and the Persians imposed harsh punishments on the rebels. Although the revolt failed, it was significant because it convinced Darius I to launch a full-scale invasion of Greece, setting the stage for the Greco-Persian Wars. While Persia was expanding its influence, significant political changes were occurring in Athens. The tyrant Hippias, who had ruled Athens, was overthrown, leading to the rise of Cleisthenes, who introduced democratic reforms. These reforms gave more power to the people, creating the foundation for Athenian democracy. In contrast, Sparta remained an oligarchy, where power was held by a few elites. The growing differences between Athens' democracy and Sparta's oligarchy created internal tensions within Greece. However, both city-states would later be forced to unite against the growing Persian threat. The events described in Terpsichore directly set the stage for the Greco-Persian Wars. Persia's westward expansion, the Ionian Revolt, and Athens' involvement in it convinced Darius I that Greece needed to be subdued. Furious at Athens for interfering in Persian affairs, Darius prepared to launch a military campaign against Greece, leading to the famous Battle of Marathon 490 BCE and the subsequent wars between Persia and the Greek city-states. Terpsichore is a crucial book in Herodotus' Histories, as it explains the rising tensions between Persia and Greece. The Persian conquest of Thrace and Macedonia, combined with the Ionian Revolt and Athens' resistance, laid the foundation for one of history's most famous conflicts. The book also highlights how political evolution in Greece, especially the rise of Athenian democracy, played a role in shaping the coming wars. This struggle between an autocratic empire, Persia, and a democratic city-state, Athens, would ultimately influence the course of Western history. Herodotus, the sixth book. Herodotus, the sixth book of Herodotus, Histories, continues the narrative of the Greco-Persian conflicts, covering the aftermath of the Ionian Revolt, Persia's campaign against mainland Greece, and the famous Battle of Marathon 490 BCE. The book also discusses political events in Sparta and Athens, highlighting key figures and decisions that shaped Greek resistance against Persian expansion. Following the suppression of the Ionian Revolt, the Persian Empire punished the Ionian Greeks severely. Many cities were destroyed, and Persian rule was strengthened in Asia Minor. However, the rebellion had already drawn Athens into conflict with Persia, making future war inevitable. To consolidate power in the region, Darius I sent his generals, Mardonius and Datis, to subdue rebellious areas and prepare for an invasion of Greece. Darius I, determined to punish Athens and Eretria for their support of the Ionian Revolt, launched an expedition into Greece. His army and navy, led by Datis and Artaphernes, first attacked and destroyed Eretria, enslaving its population as a warning to other Greek city-states. With Eretria subdued, the Persian forces moved toward Athens, landing at Marathon, a coastal plain northeast of the city. This set the stage for one of the most famous battles in history. The Athenian army, led by Miltiades, faced the numerically superior Persian forces at Marathon. The Athenians sought help from Sparta, but due to religious observances, the Spartans were delayed and could not arrive in time. Despite being outnumbered, the Athenians, using clever battlefield tactics, launched a surprise attack on the Persian forces. The Greek hoplite soldiers, with their superior armor and discipline, overwhelmed the Persian army, inflicting heavy casualties and forcing them to retreat. The victory at Marathon was a turning point in Greek history, proving that the mighty Persian army was not invincible. This battle boosted Greek confidence and set the stage for future conflicts between Persia and Greece. While Athens celebrated its victory, internal political struggles continued. Miltiades, the hero of Marathon, fell from favor and was later imprisoned after a failed military campaign. This highlights the fickle nature of Athenian politics, where leaders could rise and fall quickly. In Sparta, political tensions also emerged. King Cleomenes I was accused of madness and corruption, leading to his imprisonment and eventual death under mysterious circumstances. His successor, Leonidas I, would later become famous for his role in the Battle of Thermopylae during the next Persian invasion. Herodotus is one of the most important books in Histories, as it covers the first major Greek victory over Persia at the Battle of Marathon. It also sets the stage for the Second Persian invasion, 480 BCE, where Persia, under Xerxes I, would launch a much larger campaign to conquer Greece. The events in this book highlight the struggle between democracy and empire, showcasing how Greek city-states, despite their political instability, managed to resist the overwhelming power of the Persian Empire. Polyhymnia, the seventh book. Polyhymnia, the seventh book of Herodotus, Histories, details Xerxes I's invasion of Greece, 480 BCE, following the Persian defeat at Marathon, 490 BCE. It describes Xerxes' massive army and fleet, his preparations for war, and the famous battles of Thermopylae and Artemisium. This book highlights Persian imperial ambition, Greek unity and resistance, and the heroic sacrifice of the Spartans at Thermopylae. After the Persian defeat at Marathon, Darius I began preparations for another invasion, but his death in 486 BCE left the task to his son, Xerxes I. Initially, Xerxes was reluctant to attack Greece, but he was persuaded by his advisors, including his uncle Artabanus and a Greek exile, Demaratus. Constructed a canal at Mount Athos to prevent a naval disaster like the one that happened in 492 BCE. Built a massive bridge of boats across the Hellespont to allow his army to cross into Europe. Gathered one of the largest armies in history, estimated by Herodotus at over 1 million men, modern estimates suggest around 200,000–300,000 soldiers. Despite warnings from some advisors, including Artabanus, that Greece would be difficult to conquer, Xerxes was confident in Persia's superiority and proceeded with the campaign. Xerxes' army marched through Thrace and Macedonia, forcing Greek states to submit or face destruction. Many Greek city-states surrendered, but Athens and Sparta refused to submit, instead forming the Hellenic League, a defensive alliance against Persia. The Greeks, led by Sparta, decided to make a stand at Thermopylae, a narrow mountain pass, to block the Persian advance. Meanwhile, the Greek navy prepared to fight at Artemisium to stop the Persian fleet. One of the most famous battles in history, Thermopylae was a symbolic stand by the Greeks against overwhelming Persian forces. King Leonidas I of Sparta led 300 elite Spartans, supported by around 7,000 other Greek soldiers, to defend the narrow pass. For 2 days, the Greeks held back the massive Persian army, inflicting heavy casualties. On the 3rd day, a Greek traitor named Ephialtes revealed a secret mountain path to the Persians, allowing them to flank the Greek forces. Realizing their defeat was inevitable, Leonidas and his 300 Spartans chose to fight to the death, allowing the rest of the Greek army to retreat. The sacrifice at Thermopylae became a legendary example of bravery and patriotism, inspiring future Greek resistance. While the land battle was fought at Thermopylae, the Greek navy, led by Themistocles, engaged the Persian fleet at Artemisium. The battle was inconclusive, with both sides suffering losses. When the Greeks learned of the defeat at Thermopylae, they retreated to regroup at Salamis, where the next major naval battle would take place. Polymnia sets the stage for the turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars. Xerxes' invasion initially seemed unstoppable, but Greek resistance, especially the heroic stand at Thermopylae, proved that Persia was not invincible. The retreat of the Greek navy from Artemisium set up the decisive Battle of Salamis, where the Greeks would finally go on the offensive against Persia. Urania, the 8th book. Urania, the 8th book of Histories, focuses on the continuation of Xerxes I's invasion of Greece, 480 BCE, after the Battle of Thermopylae. It details the Persian advance into Greece, the evacuation of Athens, the naval battle at Artemisium, and the decisive Greek victory at Salamis. This book highlights the critical turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars, where Greek naval strategy successfully countered the Persian threat. After King Leonidas I and his 300 Spartans were defeated at Thermopylae, Xerxes' army continued its march into central Greece. Many Greek city-states, seeing Persia's overwhelming power, surrendered. The Athenians, knowing they could not defend their city against Xerxes' massive army, decided to evacuate Athens. Most citizens fled to the nearby island of Salamis, following the advice of the Athenian general Themistocles. The Persians soon captured and burned Athens, destroying its temples and sacred sites. Despite this setback, the Greeks were not defeated and focused on their strongest advantage, their navy. While the Persian army moved south, the Greek navy, led by Themistocles, blocked the Persian fleet near Cape Artemisium. This naval battle was fought simultaneously with Thermopylae, as part of a coordinated Greek defense strategy. Although the Greek navy fought bravely, they were outnumbered and suffered heavy losses. When news arrived that the Spartans had been defeated at Thermopylae, the Greek fleet retreated to regroup, realizing they needed a better defensive position. Themistocles, knowing the Greeks could not win a direct naval battle against the larger Persian fleet, devised a strategic trap. He tricked Xerxes into believing that the Greeks were divided and planning to flee. Eager to destroy the Greek navy, Xerxes ordered his fleet into the narrow straits of Salamis, where their superior numbers became a disadvantage. As the Persian ships entered the cramped waters, they struggled to maneuver, while the smaller and more agile Greek triremes launched a devastating attack. The Battle of Salamis was one of the most crucial naval battles in history. The Greek fleet, despite being outnumbered, used superior tactics to defeat the Persian navy. The battle resulted in the destruction of many Persian ships, forcing Xerxes to retreat and reconsider his invasion. A major morale boost for the Greeks, proving that Persian naval superiority could be challenged. Xerxes, fearing that the Greeks might attack his bridge at the Hellespont, decided to withdraw most of his army back to Persia, leaving General Mardonius in charge of Persian forces in Greece. After the defeat at Salamis, Xerxes left Greece, but Mardonius remained with a large Persian army. The Greeks prepared for another land battle, which would take place at Plataea, 479 BCE. Meanwhile, the Greek navy pursued Persian forces in the Aegean Sea, securing more victories and weakening Persian control. Urania tells the story of how Greece, despite being under immense threat, managed to strike a major blow against the Persian Empire. The victory at Salamis shifted the momentum in favor of the Greeks, setting the stage for the final battles of the war. This book highlights the importance of naval warfare, strategic deception, and resilience, showing how a smaller but determined force can change the course of history. Calliope, the ninth book. Calliope, the ninth and final book of Histories, describes the climactic battles that ended the Greco-Persian Wars, 479 BCE. It covers the Battle of Plataea, the decisive Greek victory over Persia, and the Battle of Mycale, where the Greeks launched a counterattack, effectively ending Persian rule over Ionia. This book highlights the fall of Persian dominance in Greece and the rise of Greek confidence and unity. After the Persian defeat at Salamis, 480 BCE, King Xerxes I retreated to Persia, leaving his general Mardonius in charge of the remaining Persian army in Greece. Mardonius, determined to regain control, offered peace terms to Athens, but the Athenians rejected them, choosing to fight for freedom. To counter the Persians, Sparta, Athens, and other Greek city-states formed a powerful alliance. They assembled a large army, led by the Spartan general Pausanias, and marched toward Plataea, where Mardonius had stationed his troops. The Greek army, composed mostly of Spartans, Athenians, and allies, faced the Persian forces, which included both Persian soldiers and their Greek allies from Thebes. Mardonius attempted to break the Greek lines but was killed in battle, leading to a Persian collapse. The Greeks, seizing the opportunity, attacked the Persian camp, destroying their army and forcing the remaining Persians to flee. The victory at Plataea was the final land battle of the Greco-Persian Wars, ensuring that Persia would never again invade mainland Greece. While the Greeks were fighting at Plataea, their navy, led by the Spartans and Athenians, launched a counteroffensive in Ionia, where Persian forces still controlled Greek cities. At Mycale, on the coast of Asia Minor, the Greek fleet attacked the Persian army and navy, sparking a land battle. Encouraged by news of the Greek victory at Plataea, the Ionian Greeks rebelled against Persia, helping the Greek forces defeat and destroy the Persian army. This battle marked the end of Persian control over the Greek cities of Asia Minor. It also demonstrated the growing strength of the Greek navy, which would later lead to Athens' dominance in the Aegean. With the Persians expelled from Greece and Ionia, the Greek city-states began debating their future. Sparta, having fulfilled its role, chose to return home, while Athens, now a rising naval power, saw an opportunity to expand its influence. These victories led to the formation of the Delian League, an alliance led by Athens, aimed at keeping the Persian threat away. However, this would later create tensions between Athens and Sparta, eventually leading to the Peloponnesian War. Calliope, as the grand finale of Herodotus' Histories, chronicling the decisive Greek victories that ended Persian ambitions in Greece. The battles of Plataea and Mycale not only secured Greek independence but also paved the way for Athens' Golden Age. This book highlights the power of unity, strategy, and determination, showcasing how a smaller force of determined Greek city-states defeated the mightiest empire of their time. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and press the bell icon for the next video.